Driving in Japan is one of the best ways to explore the country on your own terms. It gives you a sense of freedom and gives you access to places you otherwise wouldn't have had access to. However, when it comes to getting fuel, it can be a little challenging for those who haven't done it before. So in this video, I'll explain how to get fuel in Japan and the two different types of service stations that are available and how to use them. So there are two types of fueling stations in Japan. One is self-service and the other is full service. They do exactly as what you would think. Self-service is where you completely serve yourself, put the fuel in, pay for it, etc, etc. Full service is where these guys in the picture here are eagerly waiting to put the fuel into your car for you so that you don't even have to get out of the vehicle. So your typical self-service machine is going to look something like this. It's going to have a touch screen, it's going to have a card slot, it's going to have a receipt slot, and it might have a bill insertion slot. Some of them have a machine next to it, as we'll see in my particular case, but I've seen most of them do have this slot here, but we'll talk about the differences in that towards the end of this. The next thing you're going to want to know is what type of fuel you're going to be putting in your car. From this diagram here, from left to right, you have regular, red, high octane, yellow, and diesel, green. Next, you're going to want to decide how much fuel you want to put in your car. The big rectangular button at the top is Mantan. That means full tank. You just pump until your car's full and that's it. The little square on the left hand side is Kingaku. That means amount of money that you want to pay. So let's say 2,000 yen's worth. The little square on the right hand side is Suryo. That means you can decide the quantity you want to put in, say 10 litres. Most of the time I just choose Mantan and just fill the car right up. But again, it depends on what you want to do. Self-service is pretty simple. Simply select the next button on the screen, pick which way you're going to pay. I'm paying by credit card, so I'll pick credit card. Insert your credit card and then it's going to search for your bank and see if your card is actually eligible. Obviously if you use cash, you're not going to have this problem at all, but that does introduce a different issue which I'll talk about in a minute. After this, I select no as I don't have a rewards card, nashi. I select next, and then I select my fuel type. I choose full tank, Mantan. I then press the anti-static button, grab the fuel, and I start pumping the fuel into the car. After finishing, I simply hang up the nozzle, it prints my receipt, and that's all there is to it. Pretty simple stuff. Probably a little bit easier than the full service, but we'll get into that in a second. Now the little challenge in paying by cash is these machines here. Now every service station is a little bit different. Some of them I've seen you pay at the Bowser, but you get your change at a separate machine that looks similar to this one. But in this case, right next to the Bowser is a machine that does it all. So you simply insert your cash and it'll give you your change down the bottom. Obviously, if you're a little concerned about this, maybe paying by credit card might be better, but then you also might get charged by your provider, so your mileage may vary. The point is, it's probably a little bit easier to pay by credit card, but you'll probably figure it out if you do decide to pay by cash. Worst case scenario, they usually have an attendant on shift at any given time, so I'm sure they'll be able to help you out if you run into any issues. Now full service is a little bit different. Sometimes when you pull in, the guy might wave you up to the Bowser. In this case they were a little bit busy, so I just pulled up to it by myself. And then I patiently wait for the guy to come over. After this, you're going to need to tell him what kind of fuel you want and how much you want. Depending on your Japanese level is going to depend on how stressful this might be for you. But I'll give you some useful phrases in the description that you might want to use in this scenario. Haioku Mantan desu.
Haioku Mantan de. お支払いは
Genkin de?
Genkin de. はい。
From here, I patiently wait for the attendant to fill the car with petrol before giving me the bill and asking me to pay.
だから2842円です。はい。はい、で1万円で。はい。ごめんね。はい。すいません。7000円と細かい。ありがとう。はい。ありがとうございます。
And that's all there really is to it. Sometimes they might guide you out of the petrol station. In this case they didn't, but yeah, that's all there really is to it. As I said, I'll leave a description down the bottom of all the keywords you can use at the fuel station, but even with very basic level Japanese, you could definitely fumble your way through the necessary conversation to get fuel into your car. But that's everything you need to know about getting fuel in your car in Japan. I hope you found this video very informative. If you liked it, give it a like, chuck us a subscribe, really helps out small channels like me. And until next time, I'll see you later.